Bella is packing for a week's stay at her uncle's house. Bella's uncle and aunt moved to Seattle, Washington about a year ago, not too far from Bella's apartment. But still, an hour's journey considering the traffic. It was since last week that Bella had suddenly been getting numerous calls from her uncle. "Uncle William, what's up? How's Aunt Grace on the kids? Things aren't actually going so well, but the family's fine. How about you? Just the usual college drama. Is everything all right?" "No, Bella, I've been quite concerned about something lately. I have an urgent business trip out of town next week. I wanted you to stay here at the house with your aunt and the kids. Something strange has been going on. I can't leave your aunt by herself like this. For the whole week? I don't know, Uncle William. If your mother were here, I would have asked her to come over, but you can't expect me to bring her all the way from California. But you live only an hour away. I'd get some relief if someone was with your aunt while I'm away." "But Uncle William, it's a long way to college from your house." Just then, Bella heard her aunt speaking in the background. "Bella, sweetheart, please accept your uncle's request. I really don't want to stay alone with the kids at this house. Some strange things have been happening. It doesn't feel right." After some persuasion, Bella agreed to stay at her uncle's house for a week. They kept complaining about something strange in the house, but they didn't actually specify on what it was. Bella didn't mind staying at her uncle's house. She loved spending time with her little cousins, Harry and James. They were two naughty toddlers who were always on the run. Harry was 3 and James was 5. Besides, curious as to what was frightening her uncle and aunt so much. The night her uncle was to leave, it began to rain. Bella saw her aunt mumbling something to her uncle. They seemed worried about the rain. But Bella didn't understand what the big deal was. It was the usual Seattle weather. The first 2 days went by as expected. Apart from the fact that Aunt Grace would suddenly become awfully stressed every night. There would be a tense look on her face, although she wouldn't say anything was actually bothering her, other than Aunt Grace's unusual behavior. Bella thought it was quite odd that the top floor had been locked up. Nobody ever went upstairs. The lights were always off, and even the staircase that led there seemed to be quite dusty. The whole family had been living on the first floor. It was pretty crowded with all the extra furniture. When Bella had arrived, Aunt Grace had moved the kids into her room and told Bella to stay in the kids' room, although Bella knew there were 3 vacant bedrooms upstairs. One afternoon, Bella was helping her aunt in the kitchen. "Aunt Grace, how come you guys don't shift to the top floor? Isn't it too crowded down here?" The look on Aunt Grace's face changed. Bella could sense something disturbed her. "I told you already, Bella. Strange things happen in this house. Your uncle and I don't dare to step a foot upstairs." "What have you guys been talking about? What is it?" "I'm glad you're staying the week here. Otherwise, I would have booked a hotel with the kids. When it happens, you'll see for yourself." Bella waited for whatever was going to happen. It made her a bit anxious, but Aunt Grace looked paranoid about whatever was happening. And over the days that Bella had been in the house, she had noticed her aunt scolding the toddlers if they ever happened to go near or climb a few steps that led upstairs. The next day and night went by as usual, nothing abnormal or strange. On Thursday afternoon, it started to rain again. Looked like there would be a thunderstorm. Aunt Grace kept pacing around the house and checking the weather. She looked scared. She prepared dinner early and went into her room with the kids. Bella was sitting out in the drawing room. She was working on an assignment for college. It was calm in the house. Bella assumed James and Harry were sleeping. Suddenly, around 11 p.m., Bella was startled by a loud boom of thunder. But what was more alarming was the cry that followed. It sounded like Harry. Did he get hurt? Bella rushed to her aunt's bedroom. She could hear Harry crying. But when she opened the door, she couldn't understand what was going on. Harry and James, both shivering under their blankets out of fear, while Aunt Grace was trying to soothe them. "Don't worry, it'll be over soon." Harry wasn't crying, but Bella clearly heard a child wailing. "Aunt Grace, whose baby is that?" "Not anyone's, Bella. It's coming from upstairs." Whenever it starts to rain heavily, we all fear it will start again. It's terrifying. As the night passes, the cry gets worse. Your uncle has checked it out a dozen times. It comes from one of the rooms upstairs. We don't know what it is, but there's something there, Bella. We shifted to the first floor after the first month of moving in. The experience was horrifying. "Are you sure it's not the neighbors?" "I've checked. None of the neighbors have such young children around here." The sound of the child's cry couldn't be ignored. Bella listened to her aunt, but she couldn't believe anything Aunt Grace said. Bella walked towards the stairs. She decided to check out the matter herself. Her aunt kept warning her. She even tried to take Bella back inside. "Bella, just let it be. What if something happens to you? The crying usually stops by dawn. It's better we stay in our rooms until it's over." "No, Aunt Grace, this is so strange. I need to know where that crying is coming from." Bella took a flashlight and went upstairs. As she walked down the hall, the cry became louder. It was coming from the last bedroom. Bella gathered her courage and opened the door. At once, a chill ran down her spine. The room was empty. Spiderwebs covered the corners. Dust lay on the floor, but the noise was all too real. It began to thunder again. Suddenly, the cry became uncontrollable, like it came from a screaming, wailing, hysterical child. Bella was frightened. She rushed down the stairs where her aunt was waiting for her. "Did you see anything?" "No, Aunt Grace. but it's coming from the last bedroom. What is that? I don't know why it happens. Your uncle couldn't find an answer. We've been spooked out for months. Bella couldn't sleep that night, and as her aunt had said, the cry slowly turned into a whimper and faded into silence within a few hours. But Bella needed to get to the bottom of this. The next day, Bella and her aunt sat down and searched up bizarre phenomenons on the net, but they couldn't find any similarity to what they were experiencing. Later that day, Aunt Grace took Bella to the library. She thought perhaps they could discuss the issue with some local people. Aunt Grace met a few neighboring people there, but when she mentioned her situation, they all looked at her like she was crazy. But Bella knew what her aunt explained was all too real and petrifying. On the way back home to the house, Bella and her aunt bumped into the next door neighbor. She was a middle-aged woman. She was kind and polite and asked the two how things were going. Aunt Grace introduced Bella to the woman. After some small talk, Bella asked her if she could also hear the child cry last night from their house. The woman suddenly looked terribly disturbed. She kept silent, but after a while, she wiped a tear from her eyes and sighed. You've reminded me of something that happened a few years back, before your aunt and uncle moved to this house. I've been living here for 20 years, and I haven't seen anyone who could be so neglectful like those two individuals. There was a young couple who lived here. When they first came, I visited them. I realized they were very busy people. They didn't have time for anything. They were what you call wild youngsters. They often had parties and stayed out late nights. After a few months of them moving in, the young woman started to stay home more frequently, which was very odd. I came to know she was expecting. The pregnancy wasn't planned, but it was welcomed. After the child was born, however, the new parents returned to their careless lives. They hired a babysitter and went out each night. The child had practically been raised in the hands of one nanny to the other. If I recall correctly, this happened when the child was around 2 years old. A severe thunderstorm was wiping through the area. At around 11 at night, there was a havoc out on the lawn, so I went to check what the issue was. It looked as if the couple had returned home from a party. They were intoxicated. They were misbehaving with the nanny who was complaining about how late they had arrived. The child had been throwing tantrums the whole evening, but the nanny managed to finally put him to bed. They were finally able to calm down the angry nanny and by paying her. Later that rainy night, I heard the child crying from the house. It went on for hours until the child stopped. I woke up to the sound of ambulance sirens the next morning. I saw the paramedics take the little toddler away. The constant thundering must have frightened the child. He had been crying, and he was left unattended and uncared for by his irresponsible parents, who had passed out in their state of intoxication. After hours of crying, the desperate, anxious child reached the point of suffocation and passed away. Whenever I hear the cries, It reminds me of that terrible night. Bella and her aunt were heartbroken when they heard the story. The cries still occur every thundering rainy night. They were uncontrollable. But on those horrifying nights, when the cries would make Harry and James hold on to their mother in fear, when Grace sang her sweet lullabies, the cries from the room would sometimes fade away.
If you enjoyed this story, please like and subscribe to my channel and share this video with your friends and family.